What's the first thing we got to do in the first problem on the warm-up? Subtract 33x has to be equal to 0. When you subtract 33x, where does it go? Good, in the middle. So now we have 3x squared minus 33x plus 72 equals 0. Do we slip and slide this problem? No. We can divide them all by a GCF of 3. So if a 3 comes out, we're left with x squared minus 11x, and then what is that, plus 14? 24. Thank you. All right. So now it's just a basic factoring problem. So multiplies to give you 24, adds to give you negative 11, negative 8, negative 3. So what are my two solutions going to be? My solutions are positive 8 and positive 3. What technically are we doing when we solve for x? What are we finding? We're finding x-intercept. So if I were to sketch a graph, it would be crossing over our x-axis where x is 3 and x is 8. It would look something like that. All right. Our next one, what did we have to do?
I don't know.
Math, I agree. Yes, Amelia?
You have to add the very first, wouldn't you guys combine like this?
Yes. Let's combine like terms. Because then I have x squared equals what? Negative 27x. Now what? Add it over. So we have x squared plus 27x equals 0. How do we factor this guy? Divide the whole thing by x. Nope. Ryan, what are my solutions going to be? Almost. I agree with 0. If you take it out, it has to switch. Negative 27. Is that we good? Okay. Okay. She did. Leave him alone. Oh. It's okay. All right, questions on the warm-up. Questions on our warm-up. Okay. You mean more fun? Okay. Questions about the warm-up? No. Cool. Moving on. Today we are going to continue to solve, but now notice we have things missing, okay? My top half, I don't have a b value, okay? So if my b value is missing, we're going to solve using square roots, okay? And then the bottom half of this, our next strategy we're going to learn is completing the square, or remember, which kind of uses the top half with the bottom half. They go together. So by using a square root, we do this when the b value is missing. Remember our standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So when this guy is missing, this is when we use square roots. Because I can move c to the other side. And then we can square root. I don't like the way that says that. I don't like that. Hold on. I'm going to word this differently. Sometimes you have to do more than just move C. I'm going to say isolate the x squared. We're going to isolate x squared, and then we're going to square root both sides. When we square root, we have to remember that we always have two, bless you, we always have two solutions. So like the square root of 9 is what? And and negative 3. You're good. So 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is also 9. So when we square root, make sure we have 2 answers, which makes sense, right? We're doing quadratics. They're crossing over our x-intercept twice, so we should have 2 answers. All right. Here we go. 4x squared plus 10 equals 46. If I need to get this by itself first, so tell me what to do. Am I going to divide by 4 or subtract 10? Subtract the 10 first. So we have 36, and now what? Now divide by 4. Okay. What is 36 divided by 4? It is 9. So we've isolated the x squared. Now we can square root both sides. So what is the square root of 9? I just did this one.
3 and negative 3. Wait, it has to be 2 solutions.
It is 2 solutions. So when we write it, by the way, you can do this fun symbol. It means positive and negative 3. Okay, yeah, plus or minus. It's going to be helpful later. Okay. Technically, it is 3 and negative 3, but we're going to use this plus and minus symbol. Especially with tomorrow in our quadratic formula, right?
I remember it.
Good. What's up? Because this doesn't have a B. These don't have them. Right, we didn't use this before. This is different, yeah. All right, do we get the gist? Before we level up? We're already going to level up, yep. 3x squared plus 5 equals negative 25. Tell me what to do. Minus 5. So now we have, okay, and then divide by 3. So we have x squared equals what? Negative 10. And now what? Now, whoops. Now we can square root. Why does this keep jumping? Stop. Now we're going to square root both sides. Is there a square root of 10? In algebra 1, if I said what's the square root of negative 10, you would tell me no solution. But now we have positive and negative I square root 10. Okay, so the square root of negative 10 is the same thing as square root of negative 1 times the square root of 10. This is what we did last unit. What is the square root of negative 1?
I.
That is I. So it's I square root 10. I can't break down 10 anymore, right? That's 5 and 2. I can't break it down anymore. So square root of 10 just stays square root of 10. But we have to take the negative out. We can't leave negatives in radicals. It's not allowed. Okay. It would just be 4. If it's the square root of 16, it is 4. You did when you said it was 2. When you said it was 4. Hold on, we're confusing each other. Wait. All right. 7x squared minus 10 equals 25. What should we do first? Add that 10 over. All right, so we have 7x squared equals 35. Now what? Okay, so we have x squared equals 5. Now what? Does this one have a negative? This one does not have a negative. Is there a square root of 5? This does not have anything lower. So this is just positive and negative square root of 5. That's as low as that goes.
That's why I'm asking you about the other one. You told me no.
Well, because the other one had a negative. So that's the one I was doing. If there is not a negative, then there is not an I. If there is a negative, there is an I. We were just talking about 2 different things. Okay. Does that help? Okay. Okay. 2x squared plus 9 equals negative 13. Tell me what to do first. Add my 9 over. So now I have 2x squared equals what? Negative 4. Now what? Okay, so I have x squared equals what? -2. Now what? So we're going to square root. So I can break that up as -1 and -2, right? Can I break apart square root of 2? No. Can I break down the square root of -1? Yep, there's my I. Positive, negative, I, and then square root of 2. Questions on any of those? Okay. Sometimes it looks like these last two. So notice the x isn't being squared. My whole parentheses is being squared. Okay. So can I move anything out of the way if it's stuck in parentheses? No. So we're going to go straight to square rooting both sides. Because when I square root it, this is now just x minus 3. That inverses the square. But my other side is now positive and negative square root of 7. It's not the answer. Because I still have that -3. But we're not in parentheses anymore, so what can I do now? We can add it over. When we add it over, it's going to stay up front. 3 plus and minus the square root of 7. Like that. So remember, that is two answers. That's 3 plus the square root of 7, and that's 3 minus the square root of 7. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, keep the plus and minus. I just want to make sure you're able to recognize that is still two different spots on our x-axis. The square root of 7 is like 2 point something. So that's a 5 point something and a 1 point something somewhere. Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Of the top section. Yep. So this is now just x plus 5. But my other side, almost. It's plus or minus something. What is the square root of 4? 2i. Yep. So this is plus or minus 2i because the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of -1 gives me the I. Final step. Minus that 5. Where does it go? It just stays up front. So if my solutions are imaginary numbers, how would I plot that on a graph? You don't. Yeah, those are what the parabolas look like that are like floating above or below the x-axis. Bless you. So like this one is like up here somewhere. It's not touching. Same with this guy. It's up here. Okay, so that's what if it's an imaginary solution, it's not touching the actual x-axis. Okay. Yeah? We feel okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I feel weird with not hearing Hannah's voice. You could you don't have to turn it off though. You could do sometimes. I still want you to participate. Okay, you good? Okay. We are going to now complete the square. It seems like we're totally going with a curveball, but we're not. You're going to see how these are tied to each other. Okay? When we solve by completing the square, there are 4 steps in doing this. Step 1, this is the move the C that I was thinking about. You're going to move C to the other side. We're moving C to the other side. I want to show you the PowerPoint on this. This is going to look better. Bring this back up. This one. There we go. So we're going to move C to the other side. We're going to take B We're going to half it, square it, and add it to both sides. Yep. We're going to rewrite the left side as a binomial squared, and then we're going to solve for x. When you see it, it's going to make sense, I promise. I promise. So move C to the right side. Take B, half it, square it, add it to both sides, and then rewrite it as a binomial squared and solve for x. It's fine. Okay. So when we do complete the square, it would be nice that my b value is an even number, right? If we're dividing it by 2 every time. So b being even is key for these problems. We want b to be even. It is doable if it's an odd. You're just going to be halving and squaring a fraction. So I know you don't want to do that. It is possible, though. Okay. Is anybody still writing down the steps? Okay, they are on here if you still need them. So I'm going to do an example with the steps right next to it. Okay, and you're going to see what I mean by doing certain things. Number 1, move C to the right side. So my C value here is -3. How am I going to move it over? In this case, we're going to add it over. When you move it, leave blanks. So x squared minus 6x, leave a blank, equals 3 plus that same blank, because we're about to add something to both sides. Okay. What we're about to add is going to complete our square. Meaning the same number added to itself is going to give me -6, and then that same number multiplied to itself is going to give me the perfect square for both sides. So what number plus itself is -6? What kind of a 3? A -3, right? So what is -3 times -3? 9. Okay, so we just took our b, we divided it by 2, which is -3, excuse me, and then we squared it to get 9. But we have to make it a perfect square because of my next step, rewriting the left side as a binomial squared. It means it has to be the same factor twice, right? We did -3 minus 3, correct? We did the same thing twice. So I can rewrite that as just a single binomial, x minus 3 squared. If it's different numbers, I can't do that. So we want it to be the exact same number. But now we're equal to what? 12. Okay. And now it looks like the last 2 problems we just did. See how they're tied together now? I have a parentheses squared, those last 2 on the top. See that?
And then you solve after that?
Yep. So when it says solve for x, it means do what we were just doing in the last couple problems. Of course. So what are we going to do? Oh, go back. Oh, go back. Come on, go back. Please go back. Why are you doing this to me? Oh. Okay. From here. Please work. Thank you. Okay, we're just going to stay here. So we're going to square root both sides. Okay. This gives me x minus 3 equals square root of 12. I can break it down, right? That's the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. What is the square root of 4? Positive and negative 2. And then square root of 3 just stays square root of 3. Is x by itself? Add 3, and where's 3 going to go? It's going to stay up front. Can I do 3 plus 2? Can I do more with this problem? Can I combine like terms? Leave it alone. Because one has a radical and one does not. So I can't do anything else. This one's done.
Oh, you were saying can you add the 3? Oh.
Yep. You're good. All right. You ready to do another one? Do you see why we had to do this? Look at my original problem. The x squared minus 6x minus 3. I can't slip and slide. There's nothing that multiplies to give me 3 and adds to give me 6, right? So the strategies we already have, I can't use any of them. So unless you want to do quadratic formula, right? Which you will tomorrow. But today we don't have to. Today, complete the square works because my b was an even number. All right? Here we go. Next one. X squared minus 8x plus 7. What's my c value? So we're going to move it over. We have x squared minus 8x. Don't forget your plus blanks. And we have negative 7 plus blank on the other side.
Okay, so after, I think it was after you found the numbers, it was a blank that's the one.
Okay. Remember, I want the same binomial twice, so that way I can say it's that binomial squared, right? That is the point. So what number plus itself is going to give me negative 8? Negative 4 and negative 4, right? So what is negative 4 times negative 4? So what am I going to put in my blanks? That's where the 16 comes from. Okay? It's going to. So that's how I can make it the single binomial of x minus 4 being squared, because it was a perfect square trinomial that we created. But we're not equal to negative 7 anymore. What are we equal to? We're equal to 9. We like 9.
Wait a minute, where you get 9? Oh, never mind.
Okay. You good? Okay. That's all complete the square. Now we're going into solving using square roots.
Oh, okay, so you put the 4. Oh, okay.
You good? All right. Okay, so let's square root both sides. So now I have x minus 4 equals what? Plus and minus 3. It's all good. Is x by itself? So what do I have to do? Add 4, and where is it going to go? Up front. Yes. Can I do 4 plus 3 and 4 minus 3? Yeah. So you should have 7 and 1. So that turned into 4 plus 3, which is your 7, and we have 4 minus 3, which is your 1.
Is that how you want us to write it? 7 and 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so where'd you? Oh, I put 2 7. Oh.
I actually added it. I was this time because there's no radicals or i's or whatever. I'm actually able to add and subtract the numbers. Okay. Hey, guess what? At the very beginning, what multiplies to give you 7 and adds to give you negative 8? Multiplies to give you 7. Adds to give you 8. 7 and 1. We could have basic factored this one, but that would not have been fun. It would take all the fun out of it. I know. I could see you're all mad at me. This one could have been basic factoring. So, I mean, if the directions tell you have to complete the square, then you have to follow the directions, right? But you could always use this if you're able to like make sure you get the right answer. So here multiplies to give you 7, adds to give you negative 8 is negative 7 and negative 1. And then when you solve, you get positive 7 and positive 1. Yes. Yes. I did that. I'm just making you a better math student. I am. I'm forming connections in your brain. Yes, it is. Okay, x squared minus 4x plus 6. Does anything multiply to give you 6 and add to give us 4? No, it does not. I'm not tricking you, okay? We cannot basic factor this one, but my b value is an even number, so we're going to be able to complete the square. So tell me my first step. Minus 6 on the other side. And don't forget your plus blank. So minus 6. Okay. So we're trying to find the same number.
Oh, so negative 2. I know that. So negative 6 and negative 2
Okay. So we're using negative 2 and negative 2?
That makes sense, right?
So what are we putting into my, so I've worked out to get my binomial, but what am I adding on both sides? I'm not adding negative 2. What are we adding? We're adding 4. We good with that? We all know where 4 just came from. Okay. So now I have x minus 2 squared equals what? Negative 2. You're fine. Not square. Square root. Yes. Square root both sides. So this is just x minus 2, but what's my other side? Positive, negative, something.
Isn't it
I squared of 2, yeah. And then our final step. Add 2 over, and where's it going to go? It's going to go up front. Yeah, you're right. So it's 2 plus and minus I square root 2. Like that.
All right. So is the last one the last one you could do that, right?
Last one I can do what? Yes, we can totally GCF this one. I would like to GCF this one if I can. What? It's going to be something special. What is it? Is there one that's on your homework? Where's your homework? Okay, so when we have a GCF, we can divide it out, right? Can I divide the entire thing by 6?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing can be divided by 6, and now I have x squared plus 2x, and then what is that, minus 15 equals 0? So we talked about this before. We just want to find what x is equal to, right? Does the greatest common factor of 6 give me an x? No. So do I need it for solving for x? No, I don't need 6. All I have to worry about now is x squared plus 2x minus 15. That's all I have to worry about. Yes, you can basic factor, but we're going to complete the square for practice. Okay. Yeah, because what multiplies to give you 15? So we know here, on the side we'll do it. We know it's going to be, what, positive 5 minus 3. So we know we're going to get negative 5 and positive 3. Okay? But let's practice our complete the square. So I'm going to move over what value? The 15. Plus 2x plus blank equals 15 plus the same blank. Again, I'm not bringing my 6 because he doesn't have an x, so he's not invited to come along with us. We're leaving him behind. He's not helping. All right, what's going to fill in that blank?
Wait. So I need 1 plus 1. So 1. That's the blank.
The 1 is the blank, yes, because you did plus 1, right? So my binomial is x plus 1 squared, and 1 squared is 1. There's a whole lot of 1s going on. Yep. So now what are we equal to? 16. See why we get some integers as our answers? Because 16 is a perfect square. So here, when I square root, we're getting x plus 1 is equal to positive and negative 4. So I subtract my 1 over. I can do negative 1 plus 4, and I can do negative 1 minus 4. Negative 1 plus 4 gives me that 3. Negative 1 minus 4 gives me that negative 5. Like that. Yeah, that's it. For now. Nope. We're good. We're done. I mean, for today. Tomorrow we're going to quadratic formula. You're going to bring in your songs. I got one tip for you also. Me too.